Silver and gold investors, we have some bad news to cover, but we have some good news as well, which will make it crystal clear why we will get $2,500 gold this year. Yes, 2024. At least it sure looks that way. And who knows how high that could drive the silver price. We're going to talk about some crazy information about the commercial real estate bubble that's right now in this country. Bankruptcies taking off. We got a little information about Costco and gold. We're going to cover that as well. But let's start out by talking about the bad news. Okay, the bad news. Look, are we in a bubble? Are we in a bubble that spells trouble, but will spell good news for the price of silver and gold? Right? That's why you've bought silver. That's why you bought gold, to protect yourself against potential calamity. And I just want to remind you of something, right? I know it feels like, and when I talked with Lynette Zhang a few months back, she said, it feels crazy. I know it feels crazy because, when things are about to break, it starts to feel a little crazy out there. And I want to remind you, I don't know how old you are, okay, but I'm 53 years old. I've lived through the tech bubble. I was a young man. I worked in the tech industry from 1995 through, 20 years or so. I owned my own company at the end, but during that period of 95 through about the year 2000, it was crazy in the tech field. Everything was great. Everything was wonderful. Everybody was getting rich. Everything was great until it wasn't great. Are we in a period like that right now where everything's fine, right? House prices are good. Unemployment's great. Everything's great, but the warning signs are everywhere, right? What about 2008, the other major crisis that we had in this country? I remember that as well. I was running my own business. I had an office, and there were all these mortgage I don't know what they were doing, mortgage guys that were renting offices near me in this very nice city place in St. Louis, high-end, sophisticated office complex, right? Companies like Microsoft and, expensive, high rent, top of the line. And all these guys were renting all this office space around me, and I would overhear them talking about these real estate deals they were doing. They were all making money. It was all great until it wasn't. Are we facing that similar type situation right now? And when that happens, right? What have we learned? After the tech bubble burst, the price of gold and silver skyrocketed. After the mortgage crisis, the great financial crisis of 2007, 2008, the price of silver and gold skyrocketed. Are we in that same situation now, but are we in it at an even more extreme level? The E word, not extreme, no. Escalated. I heard somebody say everything has been escalated. Everything's bigger. The Fed's going to have to respond faster and bigger with new and more creative acronyms. No more QE. They'll have whatever they want to call it. They'll make up stuff. I'm using good words because this is a family show. And I appreciate you being here. Please give this a thumbs up. I'll beg you 2 more times, but I'm going to beg you right now. It looks like my thumb. You press the button. It's free, and it helps get the word out to more people. Okay, so thank you for that. Now, are we in? Here, let's just run through this. We, America, are you in America or are you in a foreign country? It doesn't matter, foreign to America. America's a foreign country to you if you live in a different country, but nonetheless, congratulations, America. Yes, amongst Joe Biden's many accomplishments, like being the lowest approved president in the history of the world at 37%, I digress, he's also accomplished racking up now $34 trillion in debt here in the United States. And I was listening to this guy, Jim Willie, Dr. Jim Willie, the other night. He's put throughout the idea that quite possibly we're already in default. The United States cannot pay its bills. I mean, realistically, we can't pay our bills because we're spending more, we're borrowing more every year with the over $1 trillion deficit, and we're using part of that money that we're borrowing to pay off other debt that we'd already borrowed. Are we already in a state of default? Think about this. When a person goes bankrupt, Okay, have you ever gone bankrupt? I never have gone bankrupt. I don't have any debt. I hate debt. I've always hated debt. Debt is the currency of slaves. That's what they say. Silver is the currency of gentlemen. Gold is the currency of the royalty. Well, I'm, I guess, a gentleman? I haven't been called that in a long time, but I'll call myself that. You know what CoinShop Chris told me earlier when I was talking to him on a video call with this tie? He gave me the ultimate put down. He said I look like Joe Biden. He said, that's a Joe Biden tie. You look like Joe Biden. So anyway, where was I? Yeah, if you go bankrupt, let me tell you how it works. You just don't wake up one day and say, I think I'm bankrupt. It's a process, right? Default is a process. It takes time. It has to build and build and build and build. And I'm not putting words in this man, Mr. Willie's mouth. He was on Arcadia Economics, right? Chris Marcus, a friend of our channel and a great source of great information. But he brought up this point that like maybe we're already in the process of going bankrupt. He showed pictures of the Long Beach port, which is where all these container ships come in to unload. It's like supposedly it's empty, and it's like never empty. And he said, well, maybe it's because people aren't wanting the dollar anymore. I don't know. Very interesting as we head into 2024. $7 trillion worth of U.S. debt needs to be refinanced in 2024. I'm going to ring the bell in just 1 second. CoinShop Chris, thank you for throwing that virtual ding dong at me. He can like send me instant messages. Thank you, CoinShop Chris, from your old friend Joe Biden here in the basement. Anyway, $7 trillion worth of U.S. debt needs to be refinanced in the coming year. That's a lot of money, guys. And we don't know who's going to buy that debt, okay? This is what we're heading into next year. Let me ring the bell. We got 100 thumbs up. This is a bell warning for those of you who do not like the bell, but I am going to continue to ring it 10 times for each 10 thumbs up. By the way, was Friday the biggest day ever in the history of the gold and silver market? We're going to talk about that, okay? Hold on a second here. You guys turned off on me. There you go. Now you're back. Thanks for coming back. We're going to talk about that. As we're talking about this calamity that we could be heading into in the United States, $7 trillion that needs to be refinanced. Think about it. Let's use our heads. You're analytical. I'm an analytical person. I know that. That's why we come here. We want to put the pieces together and develop a thesis. If the United States was heading into big financial trouble, would it then not make sense that when they went through the whole debt ceiling debacle months back, right? Wouldn't it make sense that they didn't raise the debt ceiling? No, they didn't raise it. No. They went for the atomic bomb. They said, we're just going to suspend the entire debt ceiling until 2025. What are we heading into? I ask you. Are we going to look back and say, duh, we should have known? They suspended the debt ceiling. They made it so they have an open checkbook to print, to spend money, as much money as they want. Are we going to look back a year from now and say, see, we should have seen? That's what a black swan event is. A black swan event is something that happens that's extreme, but in hindsight, you look back and say, duh, I should have seen it coming. I don't know. It's for you to decide. But here's the kicker. Here's what's really going to send the price of silver to $65. Gold, $3,000 or higher. $2,500 will be nothing. But I'm going to show you from a technical perspective later with a brand new chart why $2,500 is very much in the cards, according to one of the top technical analysts in the world. But nonetheless, and we're going to talk about, yes, a nude man. Very interesting. But the kicker, here's the reality, okay? No matter how you slice it or dice it, no matter how you adjust the smoke machines and the mirrors and the Fed Funhouse, no matter what Jerome Powell says, right? The head of the United States Federal Reserve, Gomer Pyle, surprise, surprise, surprise. You know what he's going to say? He's going to say, surprise, 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 America. The only way that we can deal with this in 2024 is by printing money. But he's not going to call it money printing. He's not going to come up after his Fed emergency and say, we had to start printing money. We had to monetize the U.S. debt, but that's exactly the only. You can call things what you want. You can make up names. You can blame whoever, but the only way that the United States is going to be able to get out of this predicament, right, to perpetuate the system is by printing money. When they print money, okay, when everybody else realizes what's going on, when we get inflation, because guys, I don't know, what do you think? Let me ask you, do you think that we're going to get massive inflation next year, right? I just typed an I. Looks like a line. I want you to participate here in the live stream as well. I can see. Do you think that we're going to get massive inflation? I'm telling you, we are set up, right? The table is set for big time inflation next year, while at the same time, it's him being in the box. Remember? I haven't showed you this for like 3 weeks. I've been keeping it from you, playing hard to get. Let me pull it out. All right. Here's the box, okay? Here's the box. That's inflation, and that's a recession, right? You know who's in a box? Yeah, that old guy. Boy, he's curled up. Yeah, good old Jerome. There he is. Everybody say hi to Jerome. Jerome is in a box. That box is called stagflation. Stagflation is the most fertile soil, the best environment for unbelievable returns in the precious metals, right? Do we know for sure that it's going to happen? Maybe I'm dead wrong. I don't know. I see a lot of eyes coming by in the chat, right? I see a lot of eyes. Maybe I'm not alone. Maybe we silver and gold investors, do you remember what it's like to have great gains? It's been a while. Especially silver investors, especially investors in precious metal mining stocks. It could happen, okay? It's what's called in the real technical world, they call that an asymmetric risk. That the risk of going down is so much more outweighed by the potential returns to the upside. For an example, let's say with silver, we're at what, 23? We'll say we're at 24. We're not, but we'll say we're at 24. The risk of silver going from $24 an ounce to $10 an ounce or $14 an ounce, right? The odds of that happening are far outweighed by the idea that silver could go to $85 an ounce, $65 an ounce, okay? That's called an asymmetric risk. Sure, it could go down. We always have to be prepared for the worst case scenario, right? John Carrier, that started the Carrier air conditioning company, used to say he always prepared for the absolute worst. And then in his mind, had to be okay with the worst case scenario playing out. And then everything else, and good things do happen, right? We could see easily this year, right? Silver have great returns, right? In the next 5 years, the next 10 years, we know the fundamentals that are supporting this idea of much higher silver. All right, that's what I believe. Right, you're a basement dweller. You probably are really into silver. I understand people get frustrated. I'm frustrated. Right? Try holding some precious metal mining stocks. You're not just frustrated, you've lost a lot of money. I'll raise my hand, okay? That's been to a particularly vicious place to have money invested. If you've got any money in precious metal mining stocks over the last few years, you know what I'm talking about. But that can change. That really can change, and change very quickly. Let's have a drink. I'm drinking coffee, okay? I'll be right back. And let's talk about a precious metal mining stock, like all the precious metal mining stocks, that has great potential for appreciation. Our new channel sponsor, Fortuna Silver, that's a stock that I've owned for years and years. You can check them out at fortunasilver.com. They've grown the company at a great rate over the last almost 20 years. But look, their balance sheet's in great shape. It's a company that I believe in. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm not telling you ever what to buy or sell, but I think that it's worth your time to check out Fortuna, fortunasilver.com. Let's talk now. Here it is. On top of everything going on, this is downright scary. This is scary. Okay, this is from the Telegraph UK newspaper, talking about what's going on right now in the U.S. banking system. We need to know about this because this is the environment in which we are investing right now. It says, a sobering analysis by four of the country's leading financial experts says this comfort blanket has created a beguiling illusion of stability. What they're talking about is the emergency lending, what's it called? The BTFP, the Bank Term Funding Program, where federal authorities bathed America's struggling regional banks in short-term liquidity, disguising the slow burn damage of the U.S. commercial property slump. Wait till you hear this, okay? The underlying crisis in the banking system continues to deepen as $5 trillion, a trillion is a million, of commercial real estate debt taken out during the zero rate era comes due in tranches. That means comes due in groups over the next, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, $5 trillion. And they're letting them hide it, right, with the Fed. Quote, here's a quote. These are the top 4 financial experts in the country. It's not a liquidity problem, it's a solvency problem, said Professor Tomasz Pizorski, a banking specialist at Columbia University. Hold on here. And one of the lead authors, temporary measures have calmed the market, but half of all U.S. banks are running short of deposits with assets worth less than their liabilities, and we're talking about $9 trillion, he said. Okay? A sobering analysis by emergency lending by the U.S. federal authorities has bathed... same thing. Anyway. The internet, technical problems. We've got massive issues coming up with the commercial real estate sector. Hold on here. I hope you guys can still see me and hear me. Hello? There's 300 people, it says. Hopefully you can see me and hear me. That's all coming due next year. Now let's look at that. So you got $5 trillion in commercial real estate debt. I'm not saying that's all next year. I don't know if that's 1 year, 2 year, 3, but it's all coming due in tranches. Okay. The underlying commercial real estate is worth 60, 70 cents on the dollar. Big problems for the banks, okay? While at the same time, our government's going to be trying to refinance $7 trillion in U.S. Treasuries. I don't know, guys. It doesn't seem to me to end well. This debt bubble, and it's not just the United States, right? Sure, we got $34 trillion in national debt. The world... Right, and that's like 130% of GDP. The world has $307 trillion, and I've read that's like 200% of the world GDP. It's a very, very scary, ugly situation. On top of that, let's talk about this quickly. Let me give me 1 second here. This comes from Zero Hedge. U.S. Bank, and this is what we're going to be hearing about next year. This is 2023. It's going to get worse in 2024. Be ready. U.S. bankruptcies jump 18% in 2023 amid high interest rates. Overall bankruptcies in the United States jumped by 1/5 in 2023 as both businesses and households struggled with high interest rates and the end of pandemic stimulus. Total bankruptcy filings rose by 18% to 445 375,000 last year, up from 378,000 in 2022. In 2022 wasn't exactly a great year for bankruptcies either. It says, as anticipated, we saw new filings in 2023 increase in momentum over 2022, with a significant number of commercial filers leading the expected increase and normalization back to pre-pandemic bankruptcy levels. Here, we expect the increase in numbers of consumer and commercial bankruptcy filers looking for protection. Hey, thank you, Craig Edmonds. Good evening, Buttercup. To continue into 2024, given the runoff of pandemic stimulus. It's going to be crazy in 2024. Thank you for the super chat, my friend Craig. Always appreciated, never expected. We got the Long Beach port that's empty. We're going to talk about the technical chart in terms of what's going on in gold. Gold will lead the way for silver. Gareth Soloway is a leading analyst, a guy who everybody listens to when it comes to his technical analysis of a number of different assets, but one of which that he follows closely is gold. And he was on with David Len talking about the gold market in 2024, talking about it as one of his favorite asset classes to own into. Isn't everybody, have you noticed that? Like, everybody's talking about owning gold. Now, if you want to get your hands on some gold or silver before maybe it gets to be a little bit too late, let's thank our other channel sponsor, Pimbex, P-I-M-B-E-X, Pimbex.com. They're an online bullion dealer. They have silver, they have gold, they have platinum, they have great customer service, they've got great selection, and they have great prices. Okay, I bought my silver from Pimbex before. They graciously offered to sponsor the show, Ron's Basement. We have them to thank, companies like Pimbex, companies like Fortuna, for making this show possible. Okay, Pimbex, you can find them online, P-I-M-B-E-X, Pimbex.com. And I want to read something to you. I knew there was something. I say this all the time, but I learned about Pimbex from one of the viewers, CoinShop Chris. Yes, here it is. CoinShop Chris sent me this from our comment section in one of our videos. Let me read this real quickly. This is from user UM7IS, bunch of numbers, and he says, anyway, thanks, Ron, and this is in the public domain. Thanks, Ron, my wife and I've been watching for a while, never heard of Pimbex, but you have been absolutely right. They have the best prices hands down. We bought some just recently and the price blew me away. Wish I knew about them years ago, but they will from now on be the only place I go. Keep up the good work. That's up in the comment section of one of the videos. Maybe CoinShop Chris remembers which one. He sent that to me. Okay, we're going to talk about the naked man in a little bit. But first, let's get out the new chart. What did I do with it? Here it is. Okay, Gareth Soloway is talking about how gold could easily go to 2,500 in 2024. That doesn't seem right to us, right? To say 2,000. Hey, thank you, Kevin. Wow. Thank you for that super chat, guys. Super appreciated. We talk about the different charts. Here, real quickly. Bear with me. There's the price of silver in Turkey. Huh? Yeah, that went up quite a bit. There's Argentina. There's the dollar index. Oh, boy. Hold on. I'm getting too many charts. There's the wedgie. Oh, yeah, here we go. All right, but we have a new chart. Look at all these papers. Look at all this stuff. It's crazy. Getting crazy down here. I need to get an assistant. Bear with me. All right. All the different charts. We talk about this one, right? That is silver from 1980 to 2023. Cup and handle. There's the cup. There's the handle. It's even more pronounced in the gold market. Okay, the massive cup and handle. This is considered to be one of the most absolute, strongest, and most predictable charts, okay? This shows silver, 1980, cup, 2011, 50. When we break out in silver, it is going to be absolutely crazy. The silver price is still fighting the wedgie. Okay, as you see, all right, we've come back. We've gone above, and we're testing there, right? The top of the wedge. We'll see how it plays out here in the coming weeks. I am more optimistic than ever about the silver price and gold price after Friday, because please listen to me on this. Okay, this is a big deal. Right? I'm not bragging, but when I get like as excited as I was about what happened Friday in the silver and gold market, it's a once in a 5-year day on Friday, because on a day when the silver and gold price should have been slaughtered, we should have been down $50 in gold, $40 in gold on Friday, down $1. I would have hated for that to happen, but with the good employment numbers that came out, that data, the standard reaction should have been to absolutely torpedo the gold and silver price. And immediately after the numbers came out, that's exactly what happened. But then gold fought back. Silver fought back. Shortly afterwards, gold at one point was up $17 per ounce early in the day on Friday. Ended the day about even. Guys, we're still at $2,045 gold in the spot market. Silver actually ended the day up a little bit. The fact that in the face of a day that should have been a horrific torpedo, that was the last shot across the bow. That was the last gust. Remember we talk about the gold price and the silver price running into the wind? That was like the end of the storm. Like when a storm comes through, there's that last little part of the storm that sometimes can be like a big gust of wind. Well, that's what it was. I'm telling you, what happened Friday was a big deal for the silver price and gold price. We'll see, okay? We'll see. I could be wrong. But when gold was that strong in the face of what should have been massive adversity, or was massive adversity, with those good, quote unquote, Joe Biden economic miracle employment numbers, I think we got a lot to be excited about. Let's talk about, though, Gareth Soloway, $2,500 gold. Here's why. Okay, this is a new chart. We're learning, right? I'm not a big chart guy, but I thought this was definitely worth sharing with you, okay? It's called the head and shoulders pattern. So when you're looking at me right now, I've got two shoulders and a head, right? That's what the pattern looks like. I'm going to show it to you upside down first, all right? There's a shoulder. There's a shoulder. I'm sorry. There's a shoulder. There's a shoulder. There's the head. Okay, this is upside down. So this is called the reverse head and shoulders pattern. And this is the price of gold. If we start back in August of 2020, we got to about $2,000 per ounce, right? There, that's there. If we go to March of 2022, right, we dipped down, created a shoulder, we got back to 2,000. If we go down here, I think this was like October of 2022, we got down to about, 1,600-ish in gold. Remember that? The world was ending. And then we shot back up just earlier. This was the banking crisis to 2,000. And then last year we went down, and here we are now. This is an upside down head and shoulders, all right? So what this means is, this is a very bullish. This means over here, we keep going up because there's now, right? So as we go out further this way in time, we keep going up. The way you measure reverse head and shoulders move is from the top of the head to the neckline. They call that orange line the neckline. That's the 2,000 that form that shoulder, the head, and that shoulder. That move is $450. The move up this way as we go into the future should be another $450. When you add 450 to 2,050, where we are right now, you get to $2,500 gold. You guys keep going away on me. You're there. Okay, you're back. So that's what we have to look forward to. Look, I think we're going to 2,600. That's based on, just a lot of figuring, a constant analysis of the market. I think that when we get above that 2,100, we're heading, hey guys, wow, we got 200 thumbs up. You know what that means? Bell time. And then we're going to talk about the naked man. Okay. I'll be right back. 200 thumbs up. This is the bell warning, and it's the loud bell. And I think Jake's here. I know Jake's here. Hello, Craig. Hey, guys, this show is not possible without the help of the moderators, and we are going to do the most important part right now, which is thank the moderators for all they do. We do that because the moderators are great. We type 8. If you don't mind, please type 8 to show your appreciation for the moderators. This is funny. I don't know, this guy, I don't know if you heard this story, but this guy, I think maybe he went to Costco or something. We're going to talk more about the Wall Street Journal and gold in a second, okay? But I think this guy went to Costco. He must have gone to Costco and they didn't have any silver eagles or gold available. He got really upset because then, and I don't know that happened, but I think that's within the realm of possibilities. Went to Costco, there's no gold or silver available. But then, and this is from NBC News, yes, NBC News, national news, the National Broadcasting Corporation or what company, whatever they're called. We have a news story telling us that police arrest a naked man who cannonball jumped into an aquarium at an Alabama Bass Pro Shop. The man faces several charges, including public lewdness, disorderly conduct, and criminal mischief. It says here, a man crashed his car outside a Bass Pro Shop in Alabama because he'd gone to Costco, maybe, right? They didn't have any silver eagles or gold coins. I don't know. But he stripped down to his birthday suit, I'll let you use your imagination on that one, and plunged into the giant aquarium inside the store. For those of you who've never been to a Bass Pro Shop, they all have massive aquariums with like all kinds of fish and all kinds of stuff. The ordeal happened Thursday night in front of shocked shoppers in a town. So we talk about a crazy 2024. We have some of our fellow Americans that are doing some pretty crazy things, and I just can't get that out of my head because we have a Bass Pro Shop here in St. Louis. We bring the girls there to visit Santa every year. The prospect of somebody running into the store nude and jumping into the giant aquarium, that would be a visit to Santa that certainly would leave memories. Look, the Costco gold thing is a big deal. I understand. You're probably tired of hearing me talk about it. Well, I'm going to keep talking about it because the fact that Costco sold $100 million worth of gold in the last 3 months is a big deal, and to me shows a whole new segment of investors coming into the market. The fact that Costco is now selling silver is a big deal. And I just want to read this headline to you. The fact that we have a Wall Street Journal article with this headline is a big deal. Wall Street Journal says, this came out Friday, January 5th, came out, yesterday. Wall Street Journal, you can buy gold bars at Costco, but are they worth it? The retailer says that its periodic offers sell out quickly, and some say it's a great deal, all things considered. Guys, what is going to absolutely destroy the stranglehold that the COMEX and the LBMA, the JP Morgans, the whoever the powers that be, there are people who have spent their entire career proving that the price of silver and gold are manipulated. We've now moved into a environment within the gold and silver markets where the last remaining piece of the puzzle for the prices to really explode higher will be just a small uptick in demand from investors. I want to remind you, 2022, we saw a decrease in investment in silver, and the silver price still held up well. What does that tell us, right? What happens if investment demand for silver Rick Rule said this, and I think it's probably one of the most beautiful things I've heard about the silver market, that we don't need that to get unbelievable returns in the silver market. We don't need silver to be loved, okay? We just need it to be a little bit less hated, okay? Because we love it. Right, we know the whole story. We know the compelling reasons why we own the precious metals, right? But most people don't like it, right? They like putting money into their ETF, their S&P 500, whatever the case may be. When that day comes, when we get just a few more people who come on board, who are interested, it's going to mean the price goes way up. And then what's going to happen is all the other people, right, especially in 2024, because I believe we are heading into a environment which is going to create massive inflation. And when we get that whole other massive group of people, it's going to be potentially, right? We know what happened less than a year. Let me remind you, less than 1 year ago, you could not go to your local coin shop and get silver. They were charging like unbelievable premiums for American Silver Eagles, and you had to wait to get them, right? They were charging, American Silver Eagles were selling, if I remember, like $40, $45 each, $20 over spot. It was crazy, right? So this is, when I talk about not being able to get your hands on silver, and that was just a little minor crisis, right? The banking crisis that happened back in March and April that the Fed papered over with the, what's it called? BTFP, the Bank Term Funding Program, which is another code for money printing. So to think that 2024 couldn't present us with the same situation, we don't know for sure. We don't know absolutely what's going to happen, but when we look at everything going on, like Andy Schectman always says, when you look at all the crumbs and kind of piece things together, it sure seems like we're in an environment that we could get a massive surge in demand for the precious metals. I know you're ahead of the curve. Hey, I want to say thank you for being here today, guys. Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 34,000 subscribers. My plan is to be back live tomorrow, Sunday. We've got a couple videos coming out. Coin Shop Chris and I have a new video. If you get a chance, listen to that. We had some fun as usual. Take care. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being so supportive of this community. Thank you for the super chats. Always appreciated, never expected. Thank you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.